Philippines! Good day, everyone! This is Joveril Siagabao, BSHM 1C, studying at Isabela State University, and your reporter. For this episode, we will get to discover the impact of hospitality and tourism in the macro perspective side of economics. But before we discover the impacts, let's discuss again the tourism industry and macro perspective so that we can easily understand the impacts of it in the economic. So, what is tourism? Tourism is a sum of phenomena and relationship arising from the travel and stay of non-residents insofar as they do not lead to permanent residence and are not connected to any earning activity. It is according to Professor Kunziker and Krapp of Bern University. Tourism is also a short-term movement of people to destination outside the places where they normally live and work. While tourism industry is the act of traveling or can be defined as a service industry, it includes transportation, accommodation, and services. It is also concerned with the services for people who have traveled away from their usual place of residence. Macro perspective is a form of analysis which focuses on the structure of society and provides a way of saying society as a unified whole. So in this macro perspective, minimal attention is given to the individual or subjectivity of factors for the structure of society. I taught how to be primary and responsible for shaping individual. And that is macro perspective. Let's move to the impact. There are two impacts that hospitality and tourism in the macro perspective side of economics, the positive impact and the negative impact. So let's move to positive impact. Positive impacts of hospitality and tourism in the macro perspective side of economics. First, foreign exchange revenue. Tourism expenditures and export and import are related goods and services to generate income to hosts. Example is the day when tourists first arrive in Macau until they leave. They will have fundamental needs of transportation, accommodation, and food and beverages. When tourists go to the different sports, they will need transportation and they may buy souvenirs, so it can be source of foreign exchange earning. It is also example of tourism industry, the transportation. Next one, the employment generation. Employment generation, it creates local jobs and opportunities like front desk officers, restaurant managers, taxi drivers, souvenirs business are examples. And any related services are those examples of employment creation in tourism. The next one is the contribution to the government investment. Contribution to the government investment is provide extra tax revenues each year through accommodation, restaurant taxes, airport taxes, sales taxes, and employee income taxes. And they can be categorized as taxes generated from tourism, business, and employment are called direct contribution. Example of this is taxes deducted from the employees and taxes paid by any businesses are example of direct contribution. Second one is taxes generated from goods and services supplied to tourists are called indirect contribution. Taxes on souvenirs and services are what we call value added to tax is an example of indirect contribution. The next positive impact is stimulation of infrastructure investment. It is improving of infrastructure such as roads, electricity, sewage system, telephone and public transport network that can improve the quality of life for the residents and for the tourists as well. Example of this is the road widening, bridge widening, and also the pole of the electricity. And the next one is contribution to the local economics. One example is income comes from the international employment like street vendors and informal guides. The positive side of unreported to local economy and has a great multiplier effect as it is over and over again. There are more positive impacts of this. Tourism generate income and employment in the host destination like the one first. Tourism can be a great tool for integration. That's cool. Traveling helps people across borders to understand each other, which lead to tolerance and peace. And this is really true. Tourism is an important source of foreign currency in that can be used for employment and development. The jobs within tourism can promote equality and equity. And now let's move to the negative impact of hospitality in tourism in the macro perspective side of economics. First one, increased price of goods and services. Many destinations see costs rise and local are forced of their own areas. It's get too expensive for local people to live there. Halimbawa na lang nowadays because of this pandemic, COVID-19 is lahat ng goods natin and services is nagmamahal. Halimbawa na lang, mas lalo noong unang lockdown, tumaas ang mga presyo ng mga bilihin. And lalo na ngayon sa mga transportation is kailangan ng social distancing kaya limited lang ang mga tao na pwedeng sumakay sa isang tricycle at mas pinamahal pa ang pamasahe. From 40 pesos na balikan to 200 pesos na balikan is too expensive for us. Lalo na ngayong pandemic is nahihirapan tayo sa mga maghanap ng mga trabaho dahil sa mga limited lang dapat na tao ang kailangan sa mga pinagtatrabahuan natin. And now, sa tricycle is isa na lang kailangan na sumakay. Kaya 200 pesos mas pinamahal and that is too really expensive for us. And let's move to the next one. Low paid and seasonal. The job created by the tourism are often low paid and seasonal. Seasonal tourism creates high risk under unemployment issues. These are the unemployment issues of people. The next one is investment can be made on tourism instead of much needed community facilities. Even hospitals or schools can be influenced. Totoo nga naman to is example lang na to is mas lalo nating pinapalago ang tourist spots here in the Philippines. Mas marami tayong ginagawang mga buildings na mas inaano ng turista kaysa sa mga kailangan natin dito sa ating community facilities. We should more invest to the needed of our community facilities like hospital, to build hospital because hospital is the number one what we need nowadays because of this pandemic and this COVID-19 that viruses spread to the country and to our country and those people who are affected by this. And that's all for today. Thank you for watching and listening this video. Hope you have understand what I discussed and stay safe and God bless. Goodbye everyone.